This story about many dwelling places in my Father's mansion is one of the regular choices for a funeral mass, and so we often will hear it read during the funeral mass. And it's a good gospel because it forces us to ask, there is no such thing as a cookie-cutter Christian. If you're not this way, you're not getting in. In my Father's house, there are many dwelling places, as unique as each of us. And so God, Jesus says, I'm going to prepare a place for you. Not a place where I can pack all of you in, but I'm going to prepare a place for you. This is if we look at it now one-on-one for our own personal reflection. And so, what is your room like in the mansion? What a great gospel today to get us to think about inside. In my prayer life, my spiritual life, what is that room like? How is it furnished? Who are the people whose pictures hang on the wall? The friends and family in my life today. How is it furnished? The furniture that I built in my past, the things I've done and failed to do, the experiences I've had. And then, in my everyday living, how do I bring that to others? How do I allow God's love, how do I allow God's light, which is within me, to reach out to others in my own unique way? I'm leaving tomorrow morning. So I'll share with you a little bit about myself. Maybe that'll get you to think a little bit about yourselves. As you know, most of you who know me well, I wanted to be a radio announcer. I didn't want to be a priest. I dated this girl from New Hartford, and I had hoped that one day I'd be married and have 4 or 5 kids. And that was the plan up until college. And then things began to change. In college, I started noticing a change outside that forced me to look inside. I didn't notice it inside first. I skipped school and helped the priest in Mohawk with funerals because he couldn't get altar servers in the middle of the day, 10 o'clock in the morning, 11 o'clock. So I'd skip my college courses and help him if there was a funeral. Or I'd step up and lecture if I noticed he came down the aisle and there was no lector or altar server. And little by little, I started noticing these changes. And little by little, I started noticing a change with Amy. And then always, she didn't want any children. She just wanted husband, wife, that's it, no kids. And so, anyway, I ended up, the short end of the story is I ended up in the seminary, and here we are as a priest. And I gave it a try. It's funny because we were in Mohawk Valley Community College a few weeks ago. We gave a talk on Satan, demons, the reality of evil, and the church's rite of exorcism. We gave a little chat on that, and then we watched this movie. And in the movie, the young man who goes to become a priest says, well, I'll give it a try, we'll see what happens. And that's how it starts usually. You get formed while you're in the seminary. So, while I was in the seminary, I had, I wouldn't know if it's a missionary sense, but more than just a parish priest. And through different people in my life and the guidance of Bishop O'Keefe, God rest his soul, I ended up as a Navy chaplain in the reserves. He would not let me go active duty. So when I leave tomorrow, that's the other part of my priesthood, that I'll minister to our men and women who are getting ready to come home. They're going to Kuwait for warrior transition. I think all of us here are aware that the men in the 1940s who came home from World War II, and then the service members from Korea and Vietnam, there was no program. The VA was available for medical attention, but there was really no program to help them adjust, like from the battlefield to Boonville, so to speak. And so the Defense Department has come up with, the branches of service have come up with a warrior transition program. It's not perfect, but what we have noticed is that suicides are down, suicide attempts are down, domestic violence is down, the call for help is up, The VA is more active in helping people with post-traumatic stress, combat stress, whatever you want to call it, than they ever were. So it's a good program. So I'll do that for 4 weeks with our Marines and Seabees reservists who are from this area, Syracuse, some from Albany, some from as far north as, I think this one get up from Carthage, Colebrook, New York, down that way. And then when I leave there, I have been asked, and in a military sort of way, I'll be going out to sea for 2 weeks. There are 5 American ships and 3 coalition ships in the Arabian Gulf right now, and they have not had a Catholic chaplain in 4 months. And the people, the Americans and the coalition sailors, are screaming for a priest. They have not had Mass in 4 months. So it'll be my job to spend a day or 2 on each ship. Say Mass, I don't know, counseling, because it's just a hop in and hop out visit. We'll see how that goes, but just the presence of a priest, saying Mass, having evening prayer on the ship, and then I'll fly home. So I'll be home the first week of July. So in my priesthood, it's really good because I have the parish life, which is everything from baptisms to burials, and then as a Navy chaplain, that's a whole other side of God's flock that I get to minister to, and please God do so well. So that would be a very brief look at my room in the mansion. What about yours? We're all called to be ministers of the Lord through our baptism. As a priestly people, we're all called to offer spiritual sacrifices and prayer. How have you, and how do you bring the light and the love of Jesus Christ into the lives of people in your life? It's no accident meeting the people we meet. God has put people in our care to forgive, to enlighten, to encourage, to educate. Just as they have been there for us, so we're there for others. And in order to do so, you have to really understand what your spiritual house is like and how well ordered it may or may not be. So I share with you just a very surface look at my life as a priest and how God has called me to minister in His church to His people. What about you? How are you a shepherd? How are you a minister? How do you share in the one bread and one cup that is our Lord Jesus Christ?